let me do that today. So hey, if you are popping in right now, this is the football alternative today. So we're gonna do a little bit of a live. We're gonna do some work in the greenhouse. So if you're popping in and going back to the beginning, it's just gonna be me saying we're gonna get there. Okay. What's this do? Oh, all right. Let's see. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see. Oh, eek. Okay, so hopefully I can see the chats when they happen, because I've got that. I'm just going to be setting some things. Okay, yep. All right. I don't know what this does. Let's push that button. Okay, I am not going to put a chat goal. I'm just going to let you guys, the super chat and all that, I'm just going to let you guys do whatever on that. And hopefully, if I get messages, they'll pop up and I can see them. Whew, it's hot in here. Okay, let's get some gloves on and we will start working on some projects. I think these are inside out. I didn't advertise I was doing this. I probably should have. I'm kind of working a roundabout way so I can get to a live today. Oh yeah, nails are the right way. That looks like bird droppings. Oh, okay. We'll keep going. Been a little bit since I have done a YouTube live, so we're gonna work on some things today. So we're gonna work on getting some stuff ready for our carnivorous plants. So we've got sphagnum moss. So that's long fibered sphagnum moss. We're gonna go ahead and work with that to get that ready for more carnivorous plants that are coming. So we're gonna work on that. We're gonna talk about the brand new Firefly petunias. So this is a this year's plant. This isn't mine. This is direct from Light Bio. So that is what they're doing. We can chat a little bit about them now being a channel sponsor. So we are sponsored by Light Bio. Doing a series of videos for them. But in the meantime, I'm just going to do my normal thing when it comes to petunias. Okay, so I'm going to tip you down here a little bit so you can kind of see where I'm working. Let's see if I can get that level. Okay, so I'm just going to work on a bunch of stuff. I'm going to respond to your chat questions, and we'll go from there. The greenhouse is quite humid today, so I do have the heater running, and it's the Ashley heater from Home Depot. And it is actually doing really well. It's like 76 in here and like 80-some% humidity. So it kind of takes your breath away being in here. Don't worry. I've got my carbon monoxide filter running. But if it gets too much carbon dioxide, then I will go ahead and crack the door. But yeah, we've got a bunch of carnivorous plants that are going to start arriving. And I want to try to rejuvenate some of this long fiber peat moss. So I want it to be ready and actively growing, so that when my new plants arrive, I am ready for them. So I'm just going to kind of do a thick-ish layer. And I'm hoping that the stuff that's still green is going to reactivate and be in a much better shape. Yeah. So the carnivorous plants, a lot of them don't actually grow in a soil. They kind of grow in masses of peat moss. So we're gonna, or sphagnum long grade moss. Let's see. Sweet. Hey, hello everybody that's dropping messages in the chat. I'm gonna have to look down there. All right. Yep. So we're gonna start prepping this long fibered peat moss to get ready for those carnivorous plants. I've got a coworker that's going to be heading over to I think it's Battleground, Washington. So he's going just above Vancouver, Washington. There's a reptile plant show. I mean, excuse me, a reptile show, but they tend to have a lot of unique plants there. So he's going to head there and he's going to get me some new plants. So I need to get my sphagnum moss up and growing and ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. I've got it kind of put out here. The goal for this, there's been a running theme with us trying to do like plant stuff with garbage. Bubble trash is what they call it. And this is one of the ones that I was going to work on. I needed something really big to grow the moss. So we're going to water this in. We're going to put a cover on it and get it where it's going to be. And then we're going to start working with some of the other plants. So this is kind of an in-between project for that. So, all right. So hello to everybody that's saying hi in the chat. We're gonna try to live stream for a while today. I'm not, here, let me just bring it up so it's not so awkward. I'm not a super big football fan, never have been. So the Super Bowl, I usually only watch it from the commercials, but now I can just watch those later on YouTube. So that's what I'm going to do rather than sit down for a while. And I'd much rather be in the greenhouse playing with my plants. But yeah, so that's what it is today. So if you're here for plant content, we're going to do a lot. And for not liking football. Yeah, the worst part about not liking football is having been a high school teacher at a very, very small school. So I used to teach at Kendrick High School in North Idaho. When I taught there, we had 128 students, 7th grade through 12th grade. So that's the total number of students for junior high and high school was 128. Our football team won back to back. I think it's 4 times in a row, the state championship. I watched some of the games, but it was really hard to go watch football games where the score would at least be like 68-0, 86-0, 106-0. They rarely ever got scored on, so it wasn't really riveting football to watch. I mean, I appreciated my students, I appreciated the players, but I never had the passion for the game. And part of that is, I hate to say it, it's a greenhouse fault. Because I spent most of my spare time when I was younger out in the greenhouse. And yeah, for those of you looking, these should be like cutting size. They should be like this big right now. And these are the ones we've been growing since last fall. So they're really, really big, much bigger than I need them to be. So we're also going to pot some of those up today. Okay, so let's get back to the sphagnum moss. So we've got it in here. I'm going to grab a watering can real quick. So we're going to water this with some natural rainwater. We're getting our first rain here in North Idaho, like a decent amount in like weeks. We haven't had a good soaking rain. We haven't even had any snow. There's not been any snow that's fallen. Our temperatures, the other day we had a 61 degree day, a 62 degree day in February, which is when we generally get the most of our snow. I need more water in that. So I got to wait for it to collect more rainwater, but that'll get it started. But yeah, we haven't had a winter. So if you're on East Coast, Midwest, Idaho, once it's winter back, we haven't had it this year. I think the coldest we've gotten is 20. 5 years ago, about this time of year, it was -7. And so we should be below freezing right now, but I've got trees budding out, helped the neighbor prune their fruit trees this last week, actually. Things are starting to break bud, which is really bad because if we do drop back into snowy weather, we're gonna lose all our fruit trees. Not that there's a lot of them left anymore. I mean, Lewiston used to be huge in orchards, and so was Clarkston. So Clarkston, Washington, Lewiston, Idaho, we're sister cities, but across state lines. Huge differences between Idaho and Washington. But yeah, it used to be a huge area for fruit trees, and now it's all houses. Just the way it goes. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to set this outside and let it get rained on a little bit. Oh, no, there's enough. I'll let it absorb stuff, and then I'll put it outside if I remember. I don't know. We'll put it out there now. So I'll put this down here. We're just going to kind of lock this in. Those of you that bought holiday cookies might recognize a Costco holiday cookie tray. These are great for clear domes for your plant propagation. There we go. Now it's nice and rigid. Set this outside more space. All right. Okay. I was trying to see if there was another question. No. Okay, so we're going to get into our next thing. I released a short earlier this week about using gel beads as a rooting media for plants. So those are the gel blaster beads for like Nerf gel blasters. They come in a package like that. I looked for colors other than blue, but that's all they had. So they had blue or nothing. And so they look, this little tiny thing. Hold on a second. Sally. Sorry, I had someone whining. Can you guys hear me okay? Does it sound funky? I just realized I haven't put my mic on. How's the audio? No response. Okay, let me go get my microphone real quick. So I'm gonna let you stare at the plants. I will be right back. Right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, got my microphone, so give me a second to put those on. This should improve the sound much better. Is that better? Better? Better or worse? All right. There we go. All right, so that should be much better. Okay, so the last experiment we were using these gel blaster beads. So they were, it's a modified starch. Can't remember the exact thing, but this material was actually invented in 1990s, I believe, is when it first really hit the market. And what it really is a version of this. So this is soil moist. So these things are the same thing. This has got it's cast into a shape and it's got a coloring agent in it. This is the same material, but it's clear, and it's just a crystal. I'm trying to say clear and crystal at the same time. It didn't really work. So put this down here so you can see that. So these are the individual crystals. So this stuff is, they're the same exact thing. They are definitely hydrophilic. So it can absorb like 300 times its mass in water. And the idea is it's supposed to save water in the soil and allow the plants to grow. So we were using gel blaster beads in replace of this to root cuttings. So let's take a look at the results here. And I think I'm going to kind of end that experiment because we're to the point where we can end that. Let's get you a little bit lower. That way I can still see while I'm working. Okay, so we'll put our beads off to the side. All right. Oops. There you are. There you are. Okay, so we've got our results here of the gel blaster bead. experiment. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out of here, and we're going to go ahead and pot them up into other things. The African violets, those have not rooted yet. So this is kind of a long-term thing. They're being super slow. Don't know why, but this is honestly the first time I've ever tried to propagate African violets. As you can see, early on when I did this experiment, the one without the saran wrap was actually doing best. There was a lot of turgor in the leaves. So turgor is your water pressure. So the leaves were firm. The way to think about it is if you ever have wilted spinach or wilted lettuce, they don't have a good turgor to them, or they don't have good water pressure in the leaves. So that was kind of what was going on with these two over here. And then this one was fine. I don't really think that it matters whether or not you put the saran wrap on there. Let me go ahead and pull this one out so you can see. So there is really good root growth on there. The roots are all pointing down. I can see that there's a little bit of browning on the tips of the roots. So there is a little bit of air pruning going on, which is not great. So it's allowing for root formation and oxygen flow down around the roots. So I think this might work really well for plants that have a tendency to rot, but it doesn't look like it's going to be good. I'm seeing a lot of brownness. I don't think it's going to focus for you on the tips of some of those roots. So, I don't know. I probably wouldn't use this as a method to grow plants really large. These spheres have a lot of space around in them. So it does make it really super easy to put the cutting in, but I don't think it's providing enough moisture to establish roots. So let's look at the other ones. So here's the one that had the saran wrap without the holes. I'll go ahead and look at this one. Also, same deal, lots of roots. Those roots seem to be doing a little bit better. There's still some air pruning going on. Let's go ahead and pull this. I don't know if we can pull it out of there. Let me do this, stretch the hole and see if it will rip out. There we go. So yeah, good root development, and that it's not tied in with media. We're going to do the same experiment when we get some firefly petunias, where the roots also glow bioluminescence. The roots have the bioluminescence and they glow. So we'll try that again with some fireflies. Not with the ones I have now. We'll wait till it's ones that weren't supplied by Light Bio. So I'm working on a video series for them. I purchased some of my own from Light Bio, and that's the ones that we'll do some work with. And here's the one that had some holes, and there's pretty good root formation on there. Okay, so we'll put those down, back in there. All right. So yeah, Gel Blaster media. It works really well for a rooting media, especially if you have something I think that is really prone to damping off and rotting. I think this is holding just the perfect amount of moisture where it is promoting root growth, but it's not promoting the growth of bacteria and other things. And I wonder if there's a fungicide in here, just because it's a toy for kids and it's something that a bacteria or a fungus could eat, and it's designed to stay in the toy for quite a while. So I'm wondering if they have there's a fungicide in there. Let's look at the label. See if it has something for us. It says don't freeze. Well, we're not going to have a problem with that. Made in China, so you never know what could be in it. No, it doesn't say anything about a fungicide or an antibacterial agent, but that may be part of what it is. But anyway, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to grab some potting soil and we're going to go ahead and plant these up. Humidity level in the greenhouse is pretty high. It was basically 100% in our little rooting area, so I'm not worried about that as much. I think I'm going to put these up here. Got a lot of fungus gnats in here. I've got really high humidity. Let that water go in the pond. My fish tanks are still down there, so they get all the runoff from the plants. The water lilies and the algae in there helping filter out the excess nitrogen, and it's acting as a heat sink. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. Get some soil in here. All right. Sorry, the AI is suggesting questions for you guys. If you have them, if you have a question, just go ahead and drop one in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and plant these cuttings. So we're going to put them in here. I believe these are Surfina pink veined. So this is a trailing petunia. And I can never have enough petunias. So I'm going to put these down here. It's a little bit more delicate. I'd normally just shove my cutting down in the soil. I don't want to do that on these because the roots are all facing down and I don't want to break them off. I want to give them a good fighting chance. Okay. All right. I think we're going to just leave them like that. We'll add a little water to those. And our gel blasting media, we're going to recycle that. So we're going to put that back in our containers. I hope it all fits. There we go. All right, we have another experiment coming up where we will use that. Oh, there's some blue residue in there. That's interesting. Okay, got the watering can. I had it here somewhere. Ah, there it is. It was under a little further. Just give them a good drink. Get some moisture down on those roots. This is going to add a little bit of fertilizer to there too. We're running the Jack's Classic Petunia feed. Right now we're feeding at a rate of one half tablespoon per gallon. So there's a 2-gallon watering container. So 1 full level tablespoon is just perfect for it. All right. So there you go. Needs a little bit more soil to get up to the roots on this one. All right. Let's go over a few other things that we've got running. Don't know how many of you saw my origin story where I talked about the peanut cactus. If you haven't seen that, go back and find the video, the full-length video, and please comment on a name. So this guy needs a mascot name for our channel. So that is a peanut cactus. Long story short, this is my original species of plant. You know, I built my knowledge based on this. It was the first plant that I sold. I was one of those kids that was fascinated with cactus. And at one point in time, I had 5,000 of this particular variety. And I was raising and selling them to local nurseries and stores. The whole long story I will tell you about it, but go ahead and go over to that video when you have a chance, or I'll drop a link into the description of this one later on. But if you look for the one on origin story, it's going to mention this cactus, and drop a name in there. I think I'm going to run that for about another week, and then we'll select the name out of there. Okay. So let's talk about some other things that you haven't seen yet, but are coming. Let's talk a little bit about firefly petunias. Here is let's see if we can see if I can figure out a question. Sorry, I'm new at this streaming app. So see if we click that, see what that does. No, I don't want to do that. With this, let me just pose a question here. Want to see how many of my viewers actually have their own Firefly petunias or are going to be getting Firefly petunias this year. So drop your comment there if you're going to be getting Firefly petunias. That's effects. We don't want that. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is a light bio and light bio petunia. This is their original Firefly petunia. This is the one that's bioluminescent. It glows in the dark. These are brand new plants for this year. This is straight from Light Bio. I got them earlier this week. I think I got them on Wednesday. They are a part of a video series that I'm doing upcoming for Light Bio. So they reached out to me and wanted me to make a series of Firefly petunia care videos. So those are going to be coming up soon. And you'll probably see those released directly from Light Bio. So this is one of the plants that's from that video where I talk a little bit about Firefly petunia care. So if you've got one of these, let me know in the comments. If you don't have one of these, you can go to light.bio, light.bio, and you can purchase one there. So they have plenty of Firefly petunias there, and this is the only plant you're going to see in the dark in your garden. So it's pretty cool. They have 3 varieties. So the white, a pink, and then a pink and white. So they've got, I don't have one to show, unfortunately, but those are new things coming for them. Okay, let me turn off the heat. It's getting kind of hot in here. So the heater is running overtime. Okay, so nobody seems to be commenting on the Firefly petunias. So let me talk a little bit about them. So they are the bioluminescent ones. And one of the things that we're going to start working on this year is recipes and plantings for Firefly petunias. Those of you out there that have kind of stayed tuned with what's coming up this July, does anybody know what's coming up in July for us? I can hear the birds. I can't see anything else. This feels like I'm back in my classroom teaching a subject that people don't know. That's okay. So what's coming up this year is it is the 250th birthday of the United States. So this 4th of July is 250 years since 1776. So the one thing you're going to see a lot this year is things coming out in red, white, and blue. What better thing for us to do than do a red, white, and blue planting? This one, of course, our star of the show is the Light Bio petunia. So this is the bioluminescent one. Over here, I have a blue petunia I've been working on. I call it MRP, or Mr. Ross's Purple. It's not available anywhere. This is just one I'm working on, but any blue petunia would work for this. And then I have a red and white petunia. Any red, solid red, or red pinwheel, that would work perfect for you too. This one is called Amore King of Hearts. If you could find a blue and white star, that would also be perfect in there. But we've got the bioluminescent white in the center. So this is going to be my flower planter that's going to be out while we're watching fireworks. So when it's completely dark, we'll be able to see the planter. We'll be able to see basically things in our garden in the middle of the night when we're out enjoying the 4th of July. This will actually be ready for Memorial Day. It's a pretty good sized basket as it is. This one is planted in a 5-gallon nursery pot. So it's also not going to need as much water as the hanging baskets that I had last year. And yeah, this is a great big pot. And I'm going to be turning this into a hanging basket. So there's going to be some videos of some metalworking coming up where I work on that. I'm not going to move these other ones because they're even bigger. So I have some other planters. This is using the Surfina Pink Veined, a Glamoflage Grape variegated petunia. So this is the green and white, but that is all Serafina pink vein and the Glamoflage grape in the center. And I have 2 of those baskets. So those two will be matching, and they're going to be out front of my house. Those hanging baskets are special because they'll be over 6 foot long by the end of the summer. So they will be longer than I am tall, which is pretty cool. All right, let's see. I'm going to push more buttons. Oh, hey, look, Q&A. Do you... All right. Let's see if I can get this to work. So there we go. Hey, look at me getting technological. Do you have or are you getting a Firefly Petunia? So go ahead and drop the answer down below. Let's see if we can put that down here. Oh, why is it in the middle of my screen? Okay. Anyway, go ahead and answer that. It's right in the middle of my screen, which is why I'm leaning down. But just kind of want to see what you guys think. Do you have a Firefly Petunia, or are you getting a Firefly Petunia? There. I think that's low enough where I can still see. All right, well, I'm waiting for you guys to respond to that. I'm going to be doing a little bit of trimming work. The petunias are getting a little bit longer. Some of these I'm going to be cutting back some of the runners. They just need to stay a little bit more compact until I'm ready, and I want them to fill out a little bit more. But the other thing is we're going to put these, just going to prune these. We're going to be putting these in a basket in just a little bit. Here's my other Mr. Ross's purple. We need to take cuttings of that one. We have a couple more red, white, and blue, or red and whites we need to take other cuttings of. We're just going to build some shape here. You guys are a quiet bunch. All right. Let's see if I've got another one over here. I think that's still a Mr. Ross's purple. I think I've got a few of those left. That's a trailer. Okay, we'll go ahead and end that there. Didn't get any responses, but that's okay because I only see one of you hanging out there in the chat. What we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and move forward. We're going to plant some baskets. One of the things I got was kind of feedback is behind me, all you can see is the experiment shelf, right? There's the experiment shelf and some of the running experiments. Some folks have asked to see some more plants in the background. So we're going to work on that. We're going to make some baskets, something that's got a little bit more shape, something that can stay in the background that you can see and be a little bit more interesting. So we'll work on that. All right, so let's get that down there. See if we can use some of our soil from earlier, because we don't need those. Make sure you breathe that sphagnum moss and perlite really deeply. So, we're going to need a bit more than that. So this is going to kind of act as one of my stock plants. We're not putting any fireflies in this batch. We are just going to use some longer trailers, something that can be in the background. So soil mix we're going to use today, Sunshine Mix number 4. That is our peat perlite mix. It's going to be the best one for our plants. We're going to fill it up so that it is, about right here. So about 3.5 to 4 inches below the surface of the basket. So that actually right there, that'll be about perfect. Okay. Breaking up any of those clumps, any of that compacted soil. All right, so we're going to go ahead and plant these Surfina pink vein. So that trailing pink. So I don't know if you can zoom in on that or pause the video. It's out of focus. Surfina pink vein is the petunia. These are ones that you're gonna have to kind of look for a more boutique nursery. This is not something that you're going to find in most nurseries. The reason is they are harder to transport as a full basket. So going direct to the grower of a smaller greenhouse, you're more likely to find this than you are if you're going to go to a commercial outfit. You're definitely not going to find it at Home Depot. This petunia is capable of trailing down to 6 feet by the end of the summer. Okay, so we're just going to put that in there. We're making sure the surface of the soil is about 1 inch below the rim of the pot. So you can kind of see that that is right there, about 1 inch below. Okay. And we're gonna put a few plants in here. Put that one in there. Same variety. Also a Surfina pink vein. Okay. And let's see, what else can we put in there? I don't want to put one of those in there yet. I think we're going to put in a verbena. So we're going to put one of these guys in the back because they're going to be a backdrop plant. We want them to really just be visible from one side. So I think 3 plants are going to be plenty in here. About like that. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut this back, even though it's just about getting ready to bloom. I'm going to make sure it branches out, kind of changes direction there. All right. We're going to save our trimmings because those are going to become cuttings here in a moment. We'll finish adding our potting media in. All right. I'm going to kind of only have one hand here. Filling that soil in any of the gaps. We're going to leave 1 inch of freeboard in the top. Got to make sure that goes all the way around. You can give it a little bit of a shake. Adding soil into the middle. Then I'm just lifting the soil surface or the plant's leaves and adding the soil until it comes up to the surface of the other soil that's already in there. Just like that. Shake it, pull a little bit of the excess out. There we go. That is going to be one of our backdrop plants. So that guy is going to go right over here. Move some of my fireflies out of the way. Kind of beat up some of my Amore petunias. Fireflies, though, I want to make sure that they have got good air circulation. And they are just fine. I'll move one of these down over here. Got my fuchsias. I'll put this up just a little bit. Greenhouse is kind of crowded. I think this is going to go right over here. Might need a support board under it. But there you go. There's a good backdrop plant. Oh, what do you think? Yes, no? Those of you that have just popped in, if you see the thank you for coming out of the closet down there, that's referring to the fact that I am not watching the Super Bowl game right now. I'm out playing with my plants because plants, sad to say, plants are more interesting to me than football. I was not a football player. I really enjoyed soccer, but I didn't get to play soccer in high school because I was busy with other things. Instead, I was a cross-country runner. Yeah, that I should have done things different. I like soccer a lot more than I like cross-country. Let's get the other one here. We're going to plant another one of the same thing. I think we've got some of the same thing here. Grab, what do we got back here? This is a pink vein. So grab that pink vein. Then, you know what? We should put one of those in there. So this is a Patea. So Patea has green around the outside of the blossom, which is really, really cool. So see if you can see that there in that central blossom. I like this one a lot. Maybe, no, we'll still do a trailer. We'll do a trailer and then we'll do the Patea and then we'll put another one of the verbena. Basically, I'm trying to make the greenhouse smaller because it's pretty crowded in here and I've got to make room for more firefly petunias. Sorry for the loud plastic. That's not working real well. Okay, always make sure you break up the clumps of your soil. We don't need clumps in our soil. That's using extra soil and making it compact. We want it light and fluffy. There we go. It's going to work real well. Okay. Oh, the heater is finally cooling off. It's like 76 in here. It's a little bit much. It would be in the 50s if it was below freezing outside, but that's not something North Idaho gets this year. We've got to be warm this year for some reason. So I'm really hoping that doesn't mean we have water restrictions later this summer, but I'm honestly thinking that's what it's going to mean, which means gardening is going to be a little bit more difficult. We had a year of water restrictions 2 years ago. The water reservoir in town burst and went running down the hillside in a flash flood, and it wiped out some homes, damaged a lot of infrastructure, and then the water reservoir, which served my part of town, since it wasn't working, they had to do a bunch of patches and repairs. So we had a whole summer we couldn't do any irrigation. In North Idaho, where our lawn is nothing but sand and rock. There's not really soil here. I literally have sections where I dig in my backyard where it's beach sand, like the yellow beach sand. You'll have a layer of rocks and then beach sand and another layer of rocks. There's not really much organic matter to it. There's no clay to it. Very, very little silt. So if you were in ag class when you're in high school and you did the soil evaluation, sand, silt, clay, and aggregate, we have the sand and aggregate, very, very, very little silt. So it's mainly sand. Very hard to keep things watered here. that are like grass just planted in the soil. Most of the flower beds, I've been amending them, adding organic matter, just trying to give something there to hold the water and the nutrients, because sand doesn't do that real well. So I'm hoping, long story short, I'm hoping we don't get a water emergency this year, which would be kind of devastating to my summer plans, because I plan on having a lot of petunias and a lot of other flowers this year. Trying to make the yard look prettier. This is sagebrush country, so that's an easy way to put it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and keep planting on here. We're going to grab another one of these verbena. Let's see if we can grab one in here. Looking at the growth habit, I'm pretty sure that these are my purple verbena. Just from experience, I believe this is the red and this is the purple. Leaf shape's completely different and the growth habit is different on both of those. So without seeing an open blossom, I'm pretty doggone sure that that's one of the purples. And I don't even think I had a white. I think it just had red and purple. Might have had a pink, but I don't think I had any of the pink here. So again, we're just going to do 3 plants in this one. Okay. So the top of the soil surface of the pot's about 1 inch below the rim of the container. And we're just going to kind of leave it that way. Just add our extra potting media. You got to be careful. I only got 1 bag of potting media today. And I'm not live streaming a trip to Home Depot. That'll just get expensive for me, because I will buy too much stuff. It's about where I'm at for a 2.2 cubic foot bag. It's about $32, I think, is what it costs here. So I try not to buy too many of them. There are other cheaper soils, but when you buy a cheaper potting mix, you're buying a cheaper product. And I like to have one that's going to let my plants perform like I want them to. You know, I plant the variety of hanging baskets, so I want to make sure that they have everything that they need to be successful. Okay. Give that a little bit of a shake. There's our next basket. And yes, these are one-sided. So there is a semi-trailing mounding plant in the back. We're gonna trim those too. So that's a semi-trailer or a mounder. Trim it so they branch. And then in the front we have a trailer and a semi-trailer. So that's gonna make a good backdrop for our area. We're going to put this one in here. Move the Kufia out of the way. My little experiment box. Okay, let's put that in the background. All right, there you go. That's better. Now we'll just have to put some to put up there on the experiment shelf. So it'll be much better. All right. Get this cleared up. I know what we need to do next. We need to take care of our cuttings that we just took. Okay. So this is a tray of cuttings that I've been working on. Was trying to make sure that I had plant material the appropriate size to do hanging baskets and other plantings that matched the firefly petunias that were coming in. I thought that this was the size plug I was getting, see if I can get one of those out so I can show you. Hopefully I can find one of these that's actually rooted really well. We'll see if it's this one. Okay, so this is the size plant I thought I was getting from Light Bio. Right? This is a standard 102 cell plug. That's the size I was thinking I was getting. I planted these up on Saturday. This is the size plug that you get. It's a 45 millimeter plug, and that's what comes this year. I was expecting this, and I got this. So I'm actually really, really happy with the size of plug. But the bad part it means my other petunias aren't caught up with what's coming, because that is the size of the 4-inch pot that I got from them the first year. It was literally this size is what came. Now we're sending those in plugs, in 45 millimeter plugs. So that's pretty cool. Those of you want to know, or you didn't catch this till right now, this is the original white. The bicolor and the pink are coming. I did put in for a bunch of those, so I will review them when they come. The original white is the original strain. So if you've had the original Firefly white, the intensity is going to be about the same. The growth habit is going to be the same. So everything's the same on the original. The new pink and the bicolor, they're advertising those as 2 to 3 times brighter. So this is one where you definitely had to kind of sit in a room, allow your eyes to adjust, and then you'd see the full brightness and glow. The new ones are supposed to be 2 to 3 times brighter. So they should be much, much easier to see more quickly when you enter a dark area. So pretty excited about that. Very, very happy with the size of plug. 45 millimeters is pretty good size. I don't have anything here that's 45 millimeter, but yeah, they're this size, so they're pretty good. They're pretty good size. So that's going to be perfect. Which reminds me, looking down here, I don't know that I've got any of these as fireflies. I think I've got some other things. I've got some verbena, and I've got some other things that are planted, but I haven't taken any cuttings lately of any more verbena to plant around the yard. So since we just took a bunch of those, we're going to go ahead and stick those cuttings. So if you've wondered about plant propagation, we're going to get into that in a few moments. You got to give me just a moment to get some clean water. I've got some fertilizer water in here. I need some clean water, and then we're going to mix up some brand new rooting hormone, and we'll kind of talk about that whole process, like why we're doing that, what we're using, all of that. We'll cover that in just a moment. Okay, so let's put this back up. Oh, and this is there's just a big tray on the bottom that helps it hold in some of the moisture and helps there be a larger area on the bottom. There's a little bit of runoff in here, but it's not full of water, and it's sitting on a heating mat. So I've got an electric heating mat from Home Depot underneath there. Plants grow through their roots. So if the roots are warm, the plant will grow. So when you think about planting a garden, you're generally aiming for the soil temperature to be above 56 degrees. It doesn't matter what the air temperature is, the soil temperature has to be above 56. So in this case, we're warming those root balls up. And as we warm those roots and promote their growth, it's able to grow more foliage up top. So when we do cuttings and stuff, we put those on a heating mat, and that will help. Basically, it raises the root temperature and allows the plant to grow quicker. So heating mats will grow quicker, they'll root quicker, you're going to have less experience with them damping off. So if you are growing plants, get one of those heating mats. I think the temperature it's aiming for is like between 76 and 80 degrees is what the heating mats are doing. So that's some good work there. Okay, let's get some water, and then give me just a minute. I'm going to go rinse one of these out, and I will be right back. And we will prep for doing this. So don't go away. I will be right back. In fact, you'll probably hear me go all the way over to the water. So I'll be right back. Yes, if you're still there, I have a wireless mic, so you can hear my whole adventure all the way over. Ooh, hey, there's a glass of rainwater. That'll work. Let's rinse this out. Make sure we're not having any salts or fertilizers in there. Fill both of these containers up. Got one. And we'll fill another one up so we make sure we've got enough water. All right. Almost back to the greenhouse. I'm almost there. Peekaboo. All right, there you are. Got our containers of clean water. Got that closed. Now, where is my plug trays? We're going to use some larger cell plug trays here. I've got smaller ones, but right now this is what's available. And I know these cuttings are going to grow fairly quickly. It's also going to allow me to kind of separate them out and put them in smaller areas if I need to. If you've watched my channel before, you know that I use Sunshine Mix number 4 for just about everything. This is a larger plant, so we don't have to worry. We're not putting seeds in this, so we don't have to worry about things getting lost. We're doing a full-size cutting, so that should be okay. Okay. Okay, so we're going to be putting these in a damp potting media. And we're going to be grabbing this cover from the sphagnum moss. We're going to just use this to, we're going to do some bottom watering here real quick. Just going to put a little bit of water down here to start getting the soil dampened. And that'll wick up through the bottom of the containers. In fact, if you were to do a time lapse, you'll see that they'll slowly get darker as that goes. There's holes in the bottom and the water will go up inside. Okay, so what we're going to use is we're going to use Dip and Grow. This is a liquid rooting hormone. It was $15.99. Locally, you can buy it on Amazon. If you've not used this before, it comes with a measuring cup, the liquid, and then if this is your first time, there is full instructions. So, full instructions, it tells you how to do your concentrate. Make sure you don't get this stuff on your skin, so do wear some gloves. Why? I don't know. But I just know that that's what we have to do. I can't find out a reason. I guess there was lawsuits about the chemicals involved. I don't know what it was doing to people, but this is what they say is wear gloves. So we're gonna abide by that. We're gonna be a YouTuber that goes by the rules. Okay. Okay, so hopefully you can't hear too much of the screaming behind me. Some grandkids of a neighbor came out, so they're getting a little loud. Super Bowl probably wasn't as enjoyable. Okay, so this is a graduated cylinder, and in here there are 20 marks on the front of it. So we fill this up to whichever of those marks to do the concentration that we want to work. With woody ornamentals, you might be doing like a 5x, so, or I guess basically, what is that, a 20% rooting hormone to water. You would do that for like a hardwood cutting. We're doing softwood cuttings, so our ratio, I already know for softwood cuttings, is 20:1. So what we're going to do is there is one mark right there, and so it goes all the way around. It's easy to find that one mark on the bottom, and we're going to fill that. Oops. Well, conveniently, that went in the water we're going to use. It went in both of the waters we're going to use. Okay. You don't want to soak your cuttings in rooting hormone. That's not necessary. It's actually counterproductive. So don't soak them in water. We're gonna dip them in here. This is dip and grow, not soak and grow. All right, let's off that container there. All right. So what we're gonna do next is we're going to come in. So that is 1 to 20. So we've got one part there, and then we'll do all the way up to the top. There's my 20 mark is all the way up to the top. It's all the way around. And try to get all the way up there. Okay, there we go. There is a 1 to 20 ratio. So we're going to go ahead and pour that in our big container because that's a little bit wider, a little bit more stable for us. Put our measuring cup back. It's off the side. All right. Add the rest of this down to our tray. Try to get that soil going. All right. So here's our rooting hormone. Put that off to the side where you can see it. Our tray is soaking. The soil already had a little bit of moisture to it, so that's good. And we're going to work with our verbena cuttings right now. So this is our blue verbena. There are several nodes here and a bud. We do not need the bud. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the bud. And I think I damaged one of those nodes. I can't find my little tiny clippers. I had them somewhere else. We want to do basically a 2-node cutting. So we're going to come in here and we're going to cut that bottom one off. We can cut these nodes off down here. We don't need those. So this is what we're going to do for our cutting. So I've got one node that I'm going to place underground. I've got nodes up top. I'm going to put in there and count to 10. Then it goes in the soil surface. Go a little bit lower so you can be down below the comments. Take our next cutting. This one doesn't have a flower blossom, so we don't have to worry about that. I'm going to trim off the lower leaves. Leaves can't photosynthesize in the dark, so we're going to remove those. And put it in there in our count to 10. All right. So if you look at this plant, so this verbena, see how we have leaves coming off here and then 90 degrees to there. Then there's a square stem. That puts this verbena in the mint family. And one of the things that's wonderful about the mint family, it is really awesome at rooting and sending out roots. So we don't technically even have to use rooting hormone on this. This cutting will root without it. But it also does have little hairs on the stem. So if you see me wiggle it back and forth, I'm trying to get the air bubbles off so the rooting hormone can get to the stem. A little shake to get the last drip off, and then we push those in there. No, I didn't take that off in time. Okay, got to take the flower buds off. Got to remind me to do that. Here's our next one. We'll cut that a little bit shorter. Cut off our extra leaves. Okay, and then you can take that cutting, just grab those leaves, and you're just going to hold it like that. All right. There we go. We're going to just keep working through. You know what? We can actually see if we can just twist that one off. See if that'll go that way. Yeah. It left our 3 nodes intact, so that's good. Trim those excess leaves off. One of the reasons I like to water from the bottom on my plug trays is if I'm watering from the top, any of that rooting hormone that's on that that cutting. I don't want to wash down below the root zone. I want it to stay with the plant. Also watering from above, if you're not using a sprayer, it can end up being a lot of moisture coming down and pushing out the soil, which we don't want to push the soil out from the cuttings. So I like to water from the bottom. That's just my preference. I know other people do it differently. Y'all are welcome to drop comments down in the question section, or questions down in the comment section, whichever way you want to describe it. Kind of let you guys drive what's going on. So there are two styles of cutting here. So this would be considered a tip cutting, and this is just kind of like a standard cutting. This is a mid-stem cutting. Generally, we don't use these. In certain plants, it actually affects the growth habit of the plant if you take a mid-stem rather than a tip cutting. And sometimes it matters whether you're taking it off the top of the plant or off the side of the plant. It dictates how the plant structure grows. I don't need a whole lot of these verbena. So for me, tip cuttings are just kind of the best. It's the softest material. It's most likely to root quickly. It's going to be very actively growing. So I don't have to worry about it as much as if I were taking another cutting from another spot. Remove those excess leaves. I think I'm just going to do a dozen verbena. So you can get the flower bud out of there. There we go. You can hear the noise. It's started to rain here again, which is good because we've not had our moisture. Midwest has been stealing all of our moisture. So all y'all's snow that you're getting over there, East Coast and Midwest snow, we need that in North Idaho. We don't have a snowpack this year. Our snowpack is virtually absent, which is really, really bad for us. This area only gets 12 inches of rain a year. So to not get any snow is going to be a problem. Okay, one of the things I wanted to point out, if you can kind of see that this right in here has gotten dark, and this is still kind of brownish blonde. This is dark. This is where that water is coming up from below. So I'm going to rotate this around so it can keep going the other direction. So this is wicking in through that peat moss, so through your capillary action. It's one of the reasons I wasn't watering over top, is I can water from below, and it's going to give me just the right amount of moisture. I think some of y'all are watching the football game and my live stream at the same time, because I haven't had a question since I admitted I don't like football. And the last question says I came out of the closet because I don't like football. So please, someone else throw another question up there so that one can go away. All right, it's our last cutting. There's a few more that I could have used, but I think a dozen is enough for the size greenhouse we have. Put those in there, get rid of that. All right, so there was a little plant propagation. So one of the things I will warn you about is, as I start to do more and more videos for Light Bio, a lot of my petunia propagation videos, those are going to go over to the Patreon channel. So all that hybridization that I did last year, all the crossing with the seeds and the pollination and all of that, everything that deals with petunias is going to end up over there. That's I just need to respect the professional relationship between myself and Light Bio, to kind of separate that, because they're the original. So though I do encourage you guys to enjoy plants and explore them, the other specific stuff as far as hybridization and pollination, that's going to go over to Patreon. The other thing is we are going to be developing some channel swag. So I'm thinking hoodies. So most of my channel is about firefly petunias, and most of them are enjoyed in the evening, in the dark, which it's usually a little bit cooler. So I was thinking hoodies would be an awesome idea. We can also switch that to t-shirts. I am working on a special arrangement between one of my teacher besties, so the art teacher at a school I used to teach at, and I have still stayed quite close friends. And she has started she's been running a t-shirt company as a way to fund her art classes. So I'm going to have them produce all of my swag. So the swag is going to be produced by students for an educational YouTube channel, which I think is actually pretty cool. So we're just trying to get all of the costs associated with that, and then those will be sold over on Patreon. Not sold through here because I'm not going through a merch company. And let me tell you, figuring out sales tax and all that stuff is nuts. I would rather have Patreon take care of that for me, because they know what the tax is in Azerbaijan, or you know, in South Africa or in New Zealand. I guess there's some crazy taxes down in Australia. So Patreon takes care of all those, and I don't have to know 172 different tax codes plus the 50 tax codes for the United States. So that's where the channel merch is going to be over on Patreon. The Patreon channel is super easy. It's patreon.com/agteacherthoughts. So my Patreon channel is the same as my YouTube channel. There is some different material there. I'm going to be posting behind the scenes material there. So I thought it might be kind of fun to have you see some of the outtakes when I'm doing videos. So I have a whole entire outtake stream. It's like 56 minutes of me trying to do a couple of basic videos. So you get to watch the whole process uncut, with a little bit of monologuing from me in between as I get a little frustrated, where I greet you to the channel multiple times until I get it right. But that stuff's going to end up over on Patreon also. The YouTube live streaming, I'm going to keep trying to do this. I had to do a huge workaround to get it to work today. So that was kind of frustrating for me, being down for almost a month of live streaming. I know that stickers and gifts and stuff like that are turned on. So if you feel like supporting the channel, please do. If you want something back for supporting the channel, hold on. The t-shirts and hoodies will be coming soon, and I'll have more info about those later. I have no idea on our cost, but I am working with the art teacher, and we're going to split the profit 50-50. So half will come here to the channel to pay for supplies and things like that, and then the other half of the profit is going to go right to the art class to pay for paints, pencils, canvas, pastels, all of that stuff, more t-shirt printing stuff. So that's what I'm going to work out there. I thought it was much better to have part of the profit go to a nonprofit and go to students and support education than it was to go to a merch company, which is why it's taken me a bit to get this together. I hope you guys agree. I mean, some of the merch companies make an awful lot. Like I'd sell like a $40 sweatshirt or t-shirt and I get like $7, because the merch companies take a lot. So I just wanted to make sure if you guys purchase something from me, that it gives back in multiple ways. And supporting education is always going to be a passion of mine. So anyway, I think we're done with the cutting. So I'm going to see if I have a spot to set this off to the side. And then we're going to cut some Bacopa. We're going to do some trimming on Bacopa. And this is going to be one of the easiest plants to do pinching and trimming on. Yeah. It's going to be brutal, but it'll be quick. Oh, this is another one I thought I'd show off. I hadn't shown it off yet. This is a fuchsia called Gartenmeister, and it is a really fun fuchsia. It's one of my favorites. I did take these cuttings this last fall. I actually took them after a frost, which is amazing because Gartenmeister is a very tender fuchsia variety. It's got a trumpet shape, kind of neon orangey pink blossom. They're really cool. They look like that. But yeah, I did get those cuttings. So I'm going to have some fuchsias. This area is not super great for fuchsias. It's pretty low humidity. Fuchsias like higher humidity. So those are back here too. Put this back here so it can still soak. Okay. I'll put my firefly friend back. Then our rooting hormone, we're not going to, don't drink this. We're not going to use that anymore, so it can go to the back. Put that to the side. All right. So this is Bacopa. So Bacopa is a part sun plant. Here in North Idaho, a shade. It's a moderate trailer, get down to about 2 feet. So this is one that I might plant a few of these up and put them in the background. They'd make great decorations up behind me. Even though I really kind of wanted that to stay as an experiment shelf. We're going to have to put some decorations up here. So we'll put some Bacopa up there. I just need a little bit bigger of a planter to do that. I don't necessarily want just 4-inch pots, but we could do that. That might, I don't know. It looks kind of pretty. But what we're going to do is we're going to do some trimming on this. Bacopa is easy to trim. Basically, I am going to keep it kind of about 4 inches long. Bacopa doesn't like high moisture, and the humidity in here is pretty high. So we're going to cut off any of those dead leaves. The little tiny pruners are missing. Okay, so pruning off stuff like this. I don't need cuttings of Bacopa. I've got lots of it. So we're going to do a few more. This will help the plant fill out and branch. That's really a lot of what we're doing is we're forcing our plants to activate those auxiliary nodes, those little buds that are lying dormant, that are further back on the stem, and that's going to make a fuller plant. So we're going to go ahead and do these. These will probably need to be watered tomorrow. I just don't want to water them too much. Like this one is pretty wet. It's going to be a big prune. I don't know. Does that make it like ASMR? Is that when you're just pruning? I know there's not supposed to be talking in it, but there you go. There's another one. There's a longer one. You get the idea how they trail. There you go. So back where I used to live in Oregon, Bacopa did fabulous in the early spring and summer. Late summer, it kind of struggled from the heat. So when you get to an area here where, at least where I live in town, 115 degrees is expected during the summer. We're one of the hottest areas in Idaho. All right. Trim this a little bit further back, make it a little bit more manageable. We still have weeks and weeks to go before we can put anything outside. So I'm going to kind of just trim this stuff back. Some of it started to stretch because it got in amongst the other plants. That should make a fuller pot. Not really happy with it, where this one's at. Trim those back. Really getting some rain coming down off the greenhouse now. I think it's time to take some more cuttings of Mr. Ross's purple, because I don't have enough of those, and I need some more cuttings for plantings coming up later. And I realized partway into this growing or to winter, I was like, you know, you're the only one that has Mr. Ross's purple left, and if you lose it, that's it for the variety, because I'm naming it after myself. So I suddenly realized I needed to take some cuttings. Let me just bring this over here. So we're going to prune this one back. I'm going to do the same thing on this. I'm going to prune it for shape. I'm going to be pretty brutal on this. And I can tell it needs some more fertilizer. It's been amongst the Bacopa over there, which I don't water very often. And so it gets plain water more frequently than it gets fertilizer water, which is not great. So I probably need to move it back over on the other side. These get more fertilizer, so the leaves look a lot better. I'm going to move these up here. Go. I do have a lot of these planted out in the flower beds because I noticed that this petunia is a little bit more cold hardy than other varieties. So that's what I'm really working on it for, is its cold hardiness. And I want to kind of get a more cold hardy petunia for people that live in areas that don't get super cold, so they can have something over winter. This is the petunia I had that got down to -7, and it survived. I think that's it of my petunias. Everything else is in containers right now, so we'll prune those up later. So I'm going to go ahead and prep these for cuttings, bring our rooting hormone back. So count to 10. I'm going to trim off pieces of the stem and any leaves that go underground. It's also about time for me to do another preventative application of insecticide. Make sure my plants are all pest-free, because I do not want to be responsible for dragging pests over to a greenhouse where I'm doing my filming for my light bio work. This one's getting in flowering mode. I'm running long days, so long days kind of promote a lot more blossoms than everything else. That's a pretty thick stem, which is good. Nice and strong. Okay, I think this is going to be the last thing we do today. Put that back. Hello, thank you for joining. So I think it's about time. I've been going almost an hour and a half now. I think it's time we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Starting to get dark outside. Rain's picked back up, and got some other chores I got to get to. But anyway, we're going to try to do some more live streaming later on, and I'm going to try to get back on a schedule for live streaming. I know I was doing that like Wednesday mornings, which I found out was really, really hard for people. So I'm trying to reorganize some stuff so we can do some live streams on weekends. But yeah, there's a lot more coming on the channel. For those of you that haven't seen, we are partnered with Light Bio now. They are sponsoring us, supplying us with lots of Firefly petunias, and soon we're going to get the Light Bio Pink and the Light Bio Bicolor. So those are coming. So look forward to the comment or content on that, and definitely, you know, if you haven't got a Firefly petunia now, or ordered the Light Bio petunias, go to light.bio, LIGHT.bio. Go on their website, and they will ship you those plants when they are ready for your growing season for your address. So I'm up here in zone 6B. So it's going to be several weeks before I get my official ones. I'm doing batches from Light Bio, and then I'm doing ones that I purchased through Light Bio, so that I can do my work and just see kind of how that whole process goes. But if you haven't seen them yet, I'm going to keep featuring these. These were planted yesterday, or 2 days ago, Friday. These are planted on Friday, and that's the size plug we're getting. That's one plug. That's the size that we're getting for this year. So 45 millimeter for the roots, but that is a really good size plant. Super, super happy with the product this year. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I thank you all for joining me. I hope you're learning something. I hope you enjoyed, and please, by all means, subscribe to the channel. And then when we have the merch coming out in a few weeks, hopefully you can get yourself some merch too, and we will be the home for information about your Light Bio petunias. As always, Ag Teacher Thoughts out.